Do you think that adults and children being creatures of habit is a good thing or a bad thing? Whether you think it's a good thing or a bad thing, you might change your mind after you hear what happened to this mother on Mother's Day. Mother's Day should be a time of joy and celebration and to honor the parent that brought us into this world and helped raise us and keep us safe. But for many people, Mother's Day is a constant reminder that the parent or mother that raised us is no longer here on earth. But unfortunately for the family of Echo Lloyd, Mother's Day is just a reminder of the day that she went missing. On Mother's Day of 2020, Echo Michelle Lloyd, age 47, went missing, but it's possible that she went missing before Mother's Day. Her daughter said that she spoke to her the day before Mother's Day, so she had to have gone missing between the last time her daughter spoke with her and Mother's Day, so it could have been any time that night that her daughter last spoke with her until the morning of Mother's Day. But she was reported missing on the 15th of May after her daughter went to her house to take her a Mother's Day card and some flowers, and she knocked on the door but didn't get an answer, so she left the card and the flowers on the porch, and she called the house before she left, and she said the house phone was going straight to voicemail, and that's when she knew something was wrong. But she returned the next day after not hearing from her mother still, and she started banging on the door, and no one came to the door. So unfortunately, she had to break into her mother's house, and she said that when she entered the home, she knew that someone had been there, but that someone was not her mother, because she said that the place wasn't actually ransacked, but there was food left with mold on it, and other things just were out of place, and her mother's cigarettes as well as her purse containing her ID and her cell phone was still in the house, but her car keys and her medication were missing. And she said that she knows that her mother would have never left her house in such a state with a mess inside, because her mother was very OCD. And I can understand that. However, unfortunately, Echo didn't have any cameras around or in her home to show who the person was that entered her home or how she left. Now, it is said that Echo was spotted on the 10th of January at a local Dollar General in, I believe it was the county of Climax, Missouri. And that was the last time anyone actually saw her with their own two eyes. And no one knows what happened to her after she went missing. And it is 2024 now, so that means that she's been missing for 4 years. Actually, 5 years. If you go past Mother's Day, it's almost 5 years, but technically it's still four because she went missing in 2020 and it is now 2024. So I'm just going to say 4 years for the sake of this case because it's actually 4 years and a few months. But I don't think, like Echo's family doesn't think, that however she left, it wasn't on her own free will. And that is what her family is saying, just simply because she had grandbabies that she loved. And she also, in addition to the grandbabies that she already had, her daughter, Kelsey Smith, had recently had a grandchild for her, or of her own, a child of her own, 2 months prior to her mother going missing. And she says that she knows for a fact that she would never leave her family. She would never leave her, and especially her grandbabies, because she loved her grandbabies. And she knows that no matter what, her mother would have never just left all of them without an explanation or an answer. Now, my question to everyone that knew her, like her daughter and her sister-in-law or her sister, would be, what was the medication that she was taking and how long could she survive without that medication? And has that medication been filled in any county or town around that area where she lived? And if so, was she the one to pick it up, or did someone else pick it up? And had anyone else in that area filled a prescription that resembles hers? Like if she takes, let's say, Pro Air or albuterol for asthma, has anyone in that town or a surrounding county filled a prescription for albuterol or Pro Air, but like 30 days or 60 days after she went missing? Or say if she takes something for seizures like phenobarbital, because not everybody has seizures, was there anyone that filled the prescription for her medication, and were they seen on camera? And if so, was it her that picked the medication up? Because most pharmacies like CVS, Walgreens, or even the little smaller unknown pharmacies or not so well known pharmacies have cameras in them these days, like most stores and most businesses do. But unfortunately, depending on the quality of their system, they might not have clear footage of the person or people who picked up the prescription when it was filled. Now, I also would like to know, was her car there when her daughter broke into the house? Was the car still there, or was her car missing along with her car keys? And if so, have police checked like lakes and areas in that lakes and ponds in that area? And if so, did they come up with anything? If they didn't, I think they should search again and get like a dive team, a professional dive team, to search that area or any lakes or ponds around that area that she could have had an accident in and maybe driven off the road, or maybe someone made her drive off of the road into a pond or a lake, and maybe she was not able to get out of the car before it fully sank into the water. Because we know that many times people have gone missing and decades later they're found in a pond or a lake nearby where they lived, or at least in the county or town where they lived. So this is why I asked that question. But I also have other questions too. Was she dating anyone, or did she break up with anyone recently that might have been stalking her, who could have, kidnapped her? And if so, what was that person's name? And does anyone know what they look like, or where they even live or work, or anything about the person? And did she have any like gambling debts or any other habits that might have required money, and that might have required her to owe someone money? And could that have been a reason that she went missing, because they decided to, instead of, if she was late paying them or couldn't pay them, they decided that they were going to take her life? Because unfortunately, sometimes people can just be that evil. I know it might sound insignificant, but I would like to know what were some of the items that she bought at the Dollar General that day before she went missing. Could it have been like travel size things like that would indicate that she was going on a trip? Or was she just restocking on household essentials like dishwashing liquid, or even maybe pine sol or something like that? Things that you would use to just basically do a general cleaning of your home, nothing like suspicious or anything. But it would be good to know, because that could also help police or investigators aid in her disappearance, if there was something that she bought that she doesn't usually buy. And also, I would like to know if she received any strange or weird calls in the days before she went missing, if they have not checked her cell phone records. Also, I think if they haven't already, which I'm pretty sure they thought of all of this, but they should check the security footage at the Dollar General and see if she came in with anyone, or did she leave with anyone, or was anyone walking around the store acting suspicious while she was in there shopping, and if there are cameras that point to the parking lot with a clear view of the parking lot when she showed up to Dollar General. Was there anyone else in the car with her, or did someone get into her car while she was in the store, or after she came out of the store, which would indicate that she was meeting someone there and she decided to do shopping while she waited for them to show up? I would really love to know all of these things, but unfortunately, as police have said in many articles that I've read, specifically, Detective Eric Knox said that unfortunately they have more questions than they do answers. And in investigations like this, everyone knows that the more answers you have, the I guess I wouldn't say easier it makes the job, but it helps put clues together a little better than having no answers to the questions that you have, even if it's just the general questions. But I would also like to know, whatever her medication was that she was taking, would she have to, like, how long could she go without taking her medication before her illness kicked in or got progressively worse? Because that's also a good thing to know. Because a lot of times when people go missing, if it's not of their own free will, in certain cases, the abductor will not give the person the things that they need, even if it's something to keep them alive. Um, and most times that can be unfortunately fatal for some. And I hope that's not her case. I hope that she's simply out there and she's just missing. Maybe she has amnesia for whatever reason and she doesn't remember who she is. Maybe she had an issue where she had to get away from someone who was stalking her because either she was dating someone and they broke up, or someone wanted to date her and she probably was rejecting their advances. But what I would like to know also is, how did this person, whoever they were, get into Echo's home? Did she let them in? Was there a sign of forced entry? Did anyone know if she kept a spare key outside? If so, could someone have seen her placing that spare key wherever she put it, and they decided to use that to enter her home without her permission, and that is how they ended up abducting her? Because, like her family said, she wouldn't have just left her children and her grandbabies, especially not the 2-month-old, because she loved her grandbabies. And I'm pretty sure I can speak for everyone. Depending on the situation, a lot of us are overjoyed when new additions come into the family, like, babies, especially babies. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm a sucker for like newborn, freshly born babies. I don't know why that is, but it's just something about holding a new life in your hands, whether you gave birth to it or not. That is something that is so special to me, and it is something that cannot be duplicated. That's an emotion that can't be duplicated, especially when it's like something that is in your heart. And hopefully, she'll get to spend more time with her grandkids when she is found, because hopefully she's found safe and okay, which is what I hope for a lot of these cases that I cover. And I know that a lot of people might do the cover these cases for clicks and views, but me, I don't. I cover these cases because I know what it's like to have something happen to a loved one, and people could have the answers, but when you ask the questions, they look at you as if you have 8 heads, or like basically told them to go and play in traffic, when that's not the case. When all you just want is answers about what happened to your loved one. But unfortunately, it can also be the people in your family that might have these answers, and they, for whatever reason, refuse to give them to you. But hopefully that's not the case in Echo's family, and I don't believe that it is, because her family is stating that they believe that her disappearance involves foul play, which I can agree with, because who would have grandbabies who they love with all their heart and children who they love just as much and just walk away from all that? I don't believe that someone would do that unless they have like some type of mental illness or whatever the case may be, and it's not something that they can control or help, especially if they don't know that they have this mental illness or they are in denial. Not saying that that is Echo's case, but I'm saying that sometimes that can be a case where people just walk away from their life. Like, there was a case that I saw on unsolved mysteries when I was really young, where this man, for whatever reason, one day he just stole, I think, a couple $1,000s to um, pay off of this loan that he had got from some very dangerous people. And then somehow he just disappeared, and he was found a few days later in the desert. But when he was found, he did not know who he was. He had amnesia, and there were three names that kept coming back to him, but he didn't know why. Turns out this man had a whole wife, kids, and everything, and those were the three names that he kept thinking of. And when he walked into a police station and tried to get them to help him, they really couldn't do much because he didn't even know his own name. But the police took down all of the information that he could give them, and they put articles in the newspaper. But somehow his story made it to Unsolved Mysteries a few years after that. And his wife and I think his sister were both at home that night, and his sister turned on the TV and saw him and was like, "Oh my God, that's him." Let's just say his name was Patrick for the sake of this story. She was like, "Oh my God, that's Patrick." So she called his wife and was like, "Turn on the news. Turn on, let's just say channel 8, for example. Turn on channel 8 and tell me what you think you see." So she turns on channel 8, and she said when she saw him, she nearly fainted. So instead of answering her sister-in-law or her sister, she hangs up the phone and starts writing down the number, which was a number that, Unsolved Mysteries tells people to call if they have any information. And when she called, they reunited him and her and the rest of his family. And unfortunately, he still didn't have any memory of who he was or anything of that nature. But he was slowly getting back to his life as he knew it, as his new normal. So let's just say for the case of Echo, that could be an issue. She could have amnesia, not know who she is, not know that she has family that's looking for her. She might not even know she's missing, and she could have, started a new life in a new place because she doesn't know that she's missing. She doesn't know that she has new family, and she's just out there waiting to be found. And hopefully that is the case, and hopefully she's not harmed or anything. But I'm still really wondering, how did that person, whoever it was, get into her house? Why, did they take time to eat when they got in, however that was? And did they just decide, well, nobody's coming back to this house anyway, so I can leave it in whatever condition I want? Or was it a case where Echo, whoever she let in, did she, feed them, and then something happened where they abducted her, or something went wrong, then they ended up maybe unaliving her, and they just decided to leave the food and everything behind. Now, I don't know if police collected any evidence like this, but I suggest if there were any glasses that were, that were drank out of, or any forks or any cutlery that was used to eat the food with, they should test that for DNA to see if anybody's DNA besides Echo's comes up, or anybody in her family, basically like an unfamiliar DNA match with no one when it doesn't match anyone in her family or even her, and that could possibly help investigators track down whoever was the last person in that house with her and get their story. But these are just a couple of ideas that I had. But this article mentions something about her episode being on an episode of Dateline. And I will try to find that episode and put it at the end of this video if I can. But if I can't, then that's why you don't see it at the end of the video. But unfortunately, guys, that brings me to the end of today's video. If you liked today's video or you found it interesting, because I know that cases like this are hard to cover or even say that they are liked by someone. But if you found this case interesting or you liked it, please leave me a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment down in the comment section below and let me know what you think or what your theories are of why and how she could have gone missing, because there are thousands of theories and it would take me forever to cover. But if you can, leave me a comment down in the comment section to let me know your theories. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.